Can you tell the difference between a $70 uke and a $2,000 uke by sound alone? Today, we're going to find out. Many times when we're looking for a new instrument, we look more with our eyes than with our ears. And what would happen if the only defining factor was the sound of the instrument? We had no idea how much it cost, no idea who made it, what time period it was from, or what it looked like. Today we're going to do a blind test of 6 soprano ukuleles. They're from different makers throughout the world, different price points, and different times in history. They're all strung with clear fluorocarbon strings just to level the playing field a little bit, although I have changed the tensions because I want each of these instruments to sound the best that they can. So I paired it with the tension of fluorocarbon that sounds best on that specific instrument. Now we're going to listen to 4 different sound samples, and we're going to start off with just listening to the open strings, a major scale going up the neck, and then a chord to get a baseline for what these instruments sound like. Now, nothing tells us more about an ukulele than playing a Hawaiian song. So next up, I'm going to play a little bit of Ernest Ka'ai's Hone a Kauai. We're all looking for something different in an instrument. I'm going to play a chord melody piece for you now. It's a bit of Louisiana fairy tale. We're talking about soprano ukes. It would be crazy if we didn't just strum them in a 20s and 30s ragtime style. So here's a little bit of Bye Bye Blues. This video is brought to you by the Magic Ukulele Club. Join us for new lessons and live streams each and every week, diving into the world of jazz ukulele with an archive of over 500 videos to get you started. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming. Before I show you the first uke, don't forget to put in your comments what number uke is your favorite. And it's okay if maybe you prefer one for the strumming sound and one for the individual notes. I certainly do as well. So without further ado, uke number 1 is my Wunderkammer May. This is made here in the UK. This costs, I think, round about $1,000 US. They're custom-made instruments. You can find them on the used market for a bit cheaper than this. This is an all mahogany instrument. It's only a 13-inch scale where our standard soprano is about 13.5, and it gives it that really barky sound to it. This is great for the 20s and 30s. Strumming has been my go-to for that kind of music for years. So let's look at number 2. The second uke is yet again another all mahogany instrument, which shows us right off the bat that wood does not make the instrument. There are a lot of other factors that go into it. While we can make some generalizations about wood, it really only tells us so much. The hands that go into making a uke actually matter a lot more. This next instrument is in fact not mine. This is my wife's uke. This is a 1940s harmony, and you can hear from the recordings the intonation's a little bit spotty up the neck. It could go for some new friction tuners that are better fitted. They do slip a little bit. So while it needs some love, I think all in all, this has a really nice vintage bark to it. I think it has a very charming sound, and I picked this up for just under $100. Have put a little bit of work into it. It's nothing fancy, but I think it's a nice little uke. Number 3, you may have noticed, sounded quite a bit different than those first 2 ukes. We're thinking it's not a mahogany instrument, and you would be right in that. This is a Western cedar top instrument. This is made for me by Hajime at Ancestors Ukuleles in Japan, and this is my main gigging instrument, but not in this tuning. I have not heard this uke in high G in well over a year. I usually have this in reentrant baritone or G6 tuning, or in linear C tuning, so GCEA with a low G. I think it sounds really nice in high G. The cedar gives it a lot more clarity. I love mahogany when I'm strumming, but when I'm doing single notes and soloing, cedar really helps things pop out. It gives me this more mellow, pianoistic feel to it. I love this instrument. As I said, this is my main gigging instrument. I play this probably more than any other instrument I own. It's also one of the most expensive instruments I own. This was around about $1,500, maybe a little bit more with import taxes in there. But I think for a handmade instrument, it's just absolutely stunning ukulele and sounds sort of not in that classic soprano vein. It's something fresh, something new, and I love that. Number 4, I will be honest that this is my personal least favorite of the instruments that I played today. This is another mahogany instrument though, and this is a Bruko 6. I picked this up right before Bruko went out of business. Unfortunately, I think they were doing some really cool things with ukes. And the thing about Brukos is, to me, all the ones I've played sound the same. That consistency in a lower priced instrument is actually a really nice thing. It's just not my sound. I've heard some other players that sound great on Brukos. Iso Herquist plays a Bruko. It sounds really lovely on it. It just doesn't suit my style. So Chris, why do you even have this instrument? Well, this is my instrument that I loan out to friends when they want to try uke. So if someone comes over for dinner and says, oh, uke seems like it would be fun, I go, here, take this one home with you. And in fact, I just got this one back from one of my friends. So fun little uke, not my cup of tea. These run in the used market between $100 and $200 or so. Number 5 is a uke that's rather new for me. I'm in fact just demoing it for a luthier to let him know what I think of it, and I really like it. This is the Bardo from Marco Todeschini in Italy. These cost a little over $300, which for a handmade instrument, or at least mostly handmade, is pretty darn wonderful. He makes these with plywood back and sides, and this is a cherry top on this instrument. This is a 13.5-inch scale length. Actually, I think it's just a touch longer if I recall from when I measured it. So standard soprano length, but it's very tiny. This is meant to just be thrown in a bag and you don't have to worry about it because it's plywood. But it just happens to also sound really great. I think that this cherry sits nicely between mahogany and cedar. It still has some of that vintage bark to it, but it's a little bit more clear in the top end. I actually really like this instrument. My wife's current favorite instrument. If 50 people tell me to in the comments, I will buy this instrument for my wife. I think she deserves something a bit better than that harmony. And finally, number 6, which is in fact the most expensive uke of the bunch, which was not on purpose. I assigned all of the numbers randomly. That's just how it played out. And that's this uke right here. And you might be saying, Chris, you already showed us that uke. That's your ancestors. Well, I liked that one ancestor so much that I decided I needed a high G instrument made by Hajime as well. So I got this about 6 months ago from him. They are both cedar tops, but 2 different types of cedar. While the other one is Western red cedar, which we see pretty commonly used on instruments, this is Jindai cedar, which is an old growth cedar from Japan. And you'll hear that while they're similar because they're made by the same hands, I think they have 2 distinctly different voices to them. This to me is hands down the best sounding instrument in my collection for what I want out of a uke. It's very different from those mahogany instruments that we looked at. But the bigger thing to me with my ancestors' ukes is that the playability is there. And we just did a blind sound test to hear how ukes sounded. And that matters a lot. The sound matters so much. But if it's not a comfortable instrument for you to play, it doesn't matter how good that it sounds. I would rather have a great playing instrument than the best sounding instrument in the world. Although ultimately, we want both of those, don't we? I'll see y'all soon.